Well, Bernadette, my sister, we was coming from Little Rock. And she went up on
Good
her
afternoon, or good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the 18th business meeting of the Board of Directors of the City of Hot Springs. And please rise for the invocation by Mike Davidson, and I'll lead the pledge. All rise. Thank you.
First, I'd like to read a verse from 1 Timothy 2:1 and 2. I urge you then, first of all, that requests, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for everyone, for kings and all those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. So let us pray. Our Father, we praise you and recognize you as the Creator, knowing you to be a loving and just God. We thank you for the sacrifice of your Son for our sins. Your word gives us guidelines to live a peaceful and productive life, such as showing kindness, peacefulness, gentleness, and forgiveness to others. Let us not take for granted the freedoms we have in our country that most of the world does not enjoy. I think the basics of shelter, food to eat, clothes to wear, cars to drive across the country without checkpoints and ID cards. We have been blessed. We thank you tonight for each member of the Board of Directors, their faithfulness in performing the duties of the Board, asking that they act in unity on the agenda items to be discussed, that there will be ongoing respect between the Board and community. We ask for help in applying the words of Micah, a prophet of the Old Testament, spoken to Israel in Micah 6:8, stating, He has shown you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. May these words be a guide for us in life, and we ask your blessings on each person here tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll call this meeting to order. This time, please call the roll.
Davidson.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Williams. Garcia.
Here.
Foley.
Here.
McCabe.
Here. This time, we'll consider approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda or items to be moved from consent to new business?
Mr. Mayor, I recommend that the proposed agenda be the agenda for tonight.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. Consider approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held on October 2nd, 2018. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
May I so move that we approve the
Director
minutes?
Jones.
Second.
Director Clark. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Recognition of guests. We've got a number of guests here tonight. I'd like to call upon Minnie Lennox, Director of Human Resources for the City of Hot Springs, but she's not coming forward in that capacity today. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Mayor. To the Board of Directors of the City of Hot Springs, it's an honor to stand here tonight to introduce to you the guests that we have. They're students from Hot Springs High School, class of 2009, that have gotten together and have come back to give to their community. They are all now working and teaching in the Hot Springs School District, which is what they were a product of. So I'm going to call their names and read a little bio as each one comes forward. Allison Woodfork Harper attended Arkansas State University in Jonesboro. She's been a part of this amazing district, she says, for 5 years now. She said she returned to Hot Springs School District to give back to the community and the children of Hot Springs. This district is extremely special to her because it educated her from K through 12 and set her educational foundation. She said, once a Trojan, always a Trojan. Allison Woodfork Harper.
Yes.
Our next student is Ashley Coates. She graduated from Henderson State University in 2014. This is her 4th year of teaching in the Hot Springs School District, and she wanted to return to the school district that impacted her life. Many important people in her life are through her education that she got at Hot Springs School District. She wanted to serve her community and hopefully impact students' lives like Hot Springs School District did with her. She loves telling people that she went to Oakland and now she's teaching there. Hot Springs School District is home. Her mother taught at Hot Springs School District, and while she was in school, and she is the main reason that she's back. So she decided to come back and be an educator. Once a Trojan, always a Trojan. Olivia Green. She's a two-time graduate of Henderson State University, and when she made the decision to become a teacher, there was no other choice to consider. She felt that her personal experiences would allow her to serve the district's student body without judgment or lack of understanding. Not only is she a product of this district, but she is proof that you don't have to become a victim of your circumstances. She is able to be a service to students who face the same daily struggles that she also faced. This has allowed her to develop genuine relationships with her students. She also loves the fact that Hot Springs School District is very diverse. She is a firm believer that people gain more by educating and working alongside others who are different than they are. She also loves all the many changes that are taking place to help grow the academic success of the students. From the relationships that she's formed as a student with teachers and people in the community, she felt most comfortable returning to Hot Springs School District. She knew many of those same people would be great resources when and if she ever needed them. Hot Springs School District is special to her because of the relationships that were formed, the knowledge gained, and all the experiences and wonderful memories that were created. She said, I had teachers that went above and beyond their duties to ensure kids had their hierarchy of needs met. These experiences helped shape her into the person that she is today. Olivia Green. Our next educator is Miranda Jeffrion. After graduating from Hot Springs High School in 2009, she attended National Park College, where she received an Associate of Science degree in 2011. She transferred to the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, where she received her bachelor's degree in biology. This is her 5th year teaching, but only her 1st year teaching for the Hot Springs School District. She moved away after college and taught at another school and always wanted to come back and teach at the Hot Springs World Class High School. When she got the opportunity to come back, it was a dream come true. She's been a Trojan since she was 4 years old, and she's proud to be able to call herself a Trojan again and teach the amazing children that come through the Hot Springs School District. Miranda Jeffrion. Next, we have Olivia Hatley. Olivia Hatley graduated from Henderson State University with a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education K through 6. This is currently her 1st year teaching in the Hot Springs School District. She has a 7-year-old daughter who has attended Oakland Magnet since pre-K. And as a former Oakland student herself, she knew what an amazing experience she had, and she wanted her daughter to be able to have that same experience. When she received the opportunity to teach at Oakland, she knew it was meant to be. Being immersed within the arts every day is such a gift to the students that Oakland nurtures. She's also gained the opportunity to coach the junior high cheerleading squad. She cheered at Hot Springs for 5 years and she loved it. She is happy to be able to relay her experiences and knowledge to coach these young women. She said with her short time teaching in the Hot Springs School District, it honestly feels like I've never left. That's Olivia Hatley. And lastly, Eric R. Lennox. After graduating from Hot Springs High School in 2009, he went on to graduate Cone College in Muskogee, Oklahoma, with a degree in exercise science. He holds a master's in the arts of teaching with a focus in K through 12 special education from Henderson State University. He is currently enrolled in the Educational Leadership Program as well, and he expects to finish that program in May of 2019. He started as a substitute teacher in 2015. Then he was hired on full-time at the Hot Springs Junior Academy in 2016 as a resource teacher for math and English. He currently teaches math, resource, and this is his 3rd year teaching. He absolutely loves what he does, and he's glad that he could do it in the district where he grew up. He definitely made the right choice by coming back home and stepping into his calling. It gives him a chance to give back to the community that helped mold him in the man that he is today, Eric Lennox. You know, we often hear the myth about our children grow up, go to college, go away, and don't come back. Well, tonight they're dispelling that myth. Denzel Washington said, at the end of the day, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you've lifted, who you've made better. It's about what you've given back. And these young people have come to give back to the city of Hot Springs.
Thank you so much, Minnie, for bringing that special treat to us tonight. You're absolutely right. We talk about individuals graduating and never returning, and that's certainly a testimony that people do return, and something that I think we ought to continue, Minnie. So as you go years out, if we get another great crop of returnees, bring them down. We'll do that with some of the other schools as well. Thank you. Some of these, I thought they were still in high school. I knew Eric wasn't because I was on the football field with him, but I know Olivia was. I've seen her years ago, and many of the others. But they all. I guess we're just getting a little old.
That's what it is.
But thank you and congratulations, and we do appreciate you coming back to Hot Springs and teaching at your alma mater. That's really cool. Thank you. At this time, I'll call upon City Director Garcia for a special proclamation for the National Business Women's Week.
Thank you, Mayor, and would like to ask the President and members of the Women's Chamber of Commerce to come up, and they will be receiving this proclamation for National Business Women's Week. Whereas working women constitute 76 million of the nation's workforce and strive to serve their communities, their states, and their nation in professional, civic, and cultural capacities. And whereas women-owned business account for nearly half of all U.S. businesses, generating $2.1 trillion in sales. And whereas the major goals of business and professional women are to promote equality for all women and to help create better conditions for working women through the study of social, educational, economic, and political problems, all of us are proud of their leadership in these many fields of endeavor. And whereas since 1928, business and professional women have been spotlighting the achievements and contributions of working women during National Business Women's Week, and whereas the Hot Springs Women's Chamber of Commerce is active in the city of Hot Springs and encourages women-owned businesses and recognizes the contributions of women to our workforce and our economy, now therefore, Pat McCabe, Mayor of the city of Hot Springs, and on behalf of the entire Board of Directors of the city of Hot Springs, do hereby proclaim October 15th through the 21st, 2018 as National Business Women's Week in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
And we have been around for 52 years. And tonight we are going to dedicate this to Janie Evans. She has been one of our members for over 33 years and has done a lot for our organization. My name is Carrie Gage. I'm the president of the Women's Chamber, and I'm also a speech-language pathologist at Hot Springs School District.
I am Cora Jones. I am the treasurer for the Women's Chamber of Commerce, and I am also a compounding pharmacist, an accountant, and I now own S&S Car Wash on the other end of town.
Great.
I'm Jeannie Fisher, and I'm past secretary of the Women's Chamber, currently a member, and I'm the general manager of Ulta Beauty.
Hello, thank you for this tonight, and my name is Karen Kitchens. I am a commercial banker at Regions Bank and also the vice president of the Women's Chamber of Commerce and also a member of the Oaklawn Rotary Club.
Hi, I'm Eleanor Sherfield, and I'm a retired school teacher. And as a baby boomer, I decided to become an entrepreneur, and so I'm also an executive regional vice president with Arbonne International. And I belong to Oaklawn Rotary.
Well, thank each and every one of you. This time I'd like to call Mr. Gary Troutman, President of Hot Springs Metro Partnership, up to the podium for an update. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to give you my bi-monthly update tonight, but first I'd like to echo your sentiments. It's always great as they're leaving the 2009 graduates from Hot Springs High. We're always trying to get young people back to Hot Springs, so it's encouraging to see that tonight. I'm glad that you chose to recognize them. With the Metro Partnership, we currently have 21 projects involving 534 jobs and over $62 million in capital investment. I've been talking to you for weeks about a billboard project. It rained yesterday, or I would have a billboard project to talk to you about tonight, but with any luck, you'll see something new and exciting between here and Benton tomorrow by maybe noon. So look for it on your next drive, please. Our Metropolitan Statistical Area Group with Arkadelphia and Malvern continues to meet. We met Friday before last in the village with the village POA. CEO Leslie Nally is our special guest. And Henderson continues to work with Windrock. We're trying to bring the three counties together for another meeting as we did at DeGray. That is tentatively set for November 29th. I'll get you more details on that as it evolves. I attended the Arkansas Aerospace and Defense Alliance Board meeting last week in Camden in support of our 5 aerospace manufacturers we have here in Hot Springs. We toured Lockheed Martin, and that was amazing. It's incredible what they do down there, and a little scary since it's all involved with defense. Also attended a meeting at National Park College Innovative Technology Center on virtual reality. Mayor, I noticed you were recognized in Arkansas Business today or yesterday, and there was also an article there on using Oculus for training in virtual reality and the cost saving of that. We saw a presentation on that at the college, and they're doing great things there. Tomorrow morning at the Clarion, we have the One Voice Legislative Summit. Invite everyone to be there. That's 8:30 to 11:30. J.D. McGee from Congressman Westerman's office will host the portion on federal issues. Kenny Hall from the State Chamber on state issues, and Les Warren, Representative Les Warren, will moderate on local issues for Garland County and Hot Springs. Our Business Expo is next Thursday and Job Fair at the Convention Center. Our Highway Commissioners Appreciation Dinner is next Tuesday, and the governor will be at National Park College for a forum on October 26th, next Friday. That was supposed to be at the Chamber, and the crowd outgrew, so it's going to be at National Park College. Finally, and I could spend a lot of time on this, I won't, but an issue that we're very passionate about that has been on and on, as you can imagine, with the 3.6 unemployment rate, 3.7% here in Hot Springs, is workforce. We've got 10,000 baby boomers that are retiring every day and will for the next 11 years. So we've already got low unemployment. Now we've got folks that are a little bit older in the workforce leaving. So we've got a real issue. There's really only one solution. That is not to waste a single young person as they're looking at a career path or what they're going to do with their lives. You know, a lot of us, I think we're basically same generation. Some of us had a career path. Some of us kind of experiment a little bit, and maybe sometimes our career found us. We don't have that luxury anymore. We have got to get workforce going and get kids excited at a younger age. 68% of high school graduates go to college, 32% do not. In Arkansas, that's nationwide. Arkansas, it's only slightly lower. but there are some schools and some communities doing real innovative things. Batesville, for instance, has a program where the 11th graders are shown not every, but many different occupations. They ride with EMTs. They monitor teachers in the classroom. They look over the shoulders of welders, and they determine through this series of visits what they want to do with their career. They're pointed in that path. And they're not trying to pull anyone out of a college path, don't get me wrong, but they are trying to engage the student that maybe in 9th or 10th grade thought, I'm really not going to college, why do I need to pay attention in algebra or history of that? They're getting them and getting involved on a program. I took this to our school superintendents last Thursday, and they were very excited about this that Batesville is doing, so much so that we're taking a trip. We've got 3 representatives from all 7 of our local schools. We've invited the mayor and city manager. Hope you will join us as well, and y'all are welcome. But we're going to Batesville on November 13th, and we're going to see this in action and see how that works. Without going on too long, a community in South Carolina does it on the 8th grade level. They have a job fair for 11th graders at their local convention center where they're exposed to all the companies in town. And rather than, we've used Alliance Rubber as an example, so I'm gonna go with that. A lot of folks drive down Carpenter Dam every day. They see a beautiful water feature out front, or they drive by the bypass and see a large, beautiful American flag. But they have no idea that the world's largest producer of rubber bands sits 100 yards off Carpenter Dam. We're going to try to remove that veil and really show them and educate them on what our local manufacturers do and the possibilities that are out there for them. And finally, the P-TECH program in Maryland is a program where they take 9th graders. It's a 6-year contract between the student, the parents, and the institution, where they do the similar thing. They work on determining a career path, but they stay with that child from age 14 to age 20. The logic being that at age 20, you've probably completed 2 years towards your degree path. If you're headed for a bachelor's or more, you're going to be in good shape. You're halfway home. But if you're going another route in high school, if you want to be a welder, for instance, we're going to get you in that career path. We're going to get you technology training. We're going to get you a certificate at 20, and you're ready to go to work. So we're incorporating a number of these things in what we're looking at doing, and we're very excited about our trip to Batesville as the first step in that direction. I'd be happy to answer any questions if I may.
Any questions, Mr. Troutman? No, thank you very much. Very interesting. Appreciate your
Thank you.
update.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Time we'll ask Mr. Burrows for the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Just a few things. The new Cornerstone water tank, they've started construction. The concrete pour for the foundation of the new construction water tank begins at about 5 a.m. Saturday, wraps up 95 truckloads later at around 5 p.m. It's a huge concrete pour, a 12-hour pour, about 1,000 yards of concrete. The public can view this construction over the course of the next year on the city's new tank cam via a link on the city's utility page at cityhs.net. I looked at it today. It's actually pretty cool. The tank cam provides still photos every 30 minutes of the construction of the site behind Lowe's. So you'll have a time lapse of this construction throughout the period. It's been over 50 years since we've had an aerial tank such as this built. The last was Hollywood, which is the furthest southern tank that we have in our system. We certainly need this particular tank, and there'll be others to come in the future, but we're very excited. I know nothing gets you more excited than water, but it is something that will be a great achievement. It's going to change the skyline. It's something that'll be here for years and years, decades to come. So we're excited about that, and I appreciate Monty Ledbetter and all the staff that worked to get that camera up. Hot Springs Animal Services will hold a $5 rabies drive from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, October the 27th, in the north parking lot of the First Baptist Church, which is located at 2350 Central Avenue. In cooperation with the Garland County Sheriff's Office, free spay and neuter vouchers will also be available for any city or county resident. All participants, though, they need to be able to bring a photo ID or proof of residency. Animal Services Shelter at 319 Davidson Drive will be closed to the public during that day. We'll have all, pretty much all the staff there at the event. Again, that's Saturday, October 27th from 10 to 2. Something that's a little bit troubling, scammers have lately been using the police department's phone number to conduct scam phone calls. So we want to warn any of our residents or anyone watching this tonight that the police department will never demand money over the phone for a fine, warrant, or anything else. So if you ever get a phone call from the police department asking for a credit card or a payment over the phone, it's certainly a scam, and do not do that. Do not give money to people over the phone regarding any type of business with the Hot Springs Police Department. And finally, a fun event is Don't Miss Boo at the Badge, Hot Springs' largest Halloween block party. It's hosted by the local first responders. It's free, safe, and lots of fun. Tons of people show up for this every year, and it's really turned into one of the bigger events that we have for Halloween. Bring your little spooks to the Central Fire Station on Broadway between 5 and 7:30 on Halloween night for treats, high fives with the firefighters, members of law enforcement, and also emergency medical services personnel. So have a safe Halloween. I don't think we meet again until then, so this will be a great event for you to bring them to. Thank you, Mayor.
Very good. Thank you very much for that update. That's a lot of concrete.
A lot of concrete.
We don't-
Anybody with a pair of boots?
Is one company delivering all that?
Two. I'm getting a sign from the back that there is one company that's going to be doing that.
One company bringing a lot of concrete in on Saturday. Very good. Directors, any announcements of upcoming events? Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to invite you to Coffee with Karen. Please come for coffee, cake, and conversation with Hot Springs City Director Karen Garcia tomorrow, October 17th at 10:30 a.m. at the Huntley Woods Clubhouse just off Malvern Avenue. This is the northeast end of District 5, and so if you're in that area of District 5, please come by.
Very good, thank you. Other directors of upcoming events?
I have one, Mayor.
Yes.
On Halloween, there will be 7 churches participating in a party for the kids. It will be held at Union Baptist Church. That's all I know.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
If there's no other announcements of upcoming events, we'll consider the consent agenda. We have 2 items on the consent agenda. These are items of routine nature and do not merit discussion, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move that we.
A motion by Director Jones, seconded by
Second.
Director Garcia. All in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved. New business, we have 4 action items under new business. 3 of them are of a similar type of subject on ad valorem taxes, and the final one is on purchase of property. So we'll consider the first ad valorem, which is consider resolution number R18140, and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Mayor, this is Resolution R18140, a resolution levying 0 mills of ad valorem taxes for the general fund. That concludes your reading. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Clark, seconded by Director
Second.
Foley. And Mr. Bill Burrows is going to provide the staff update or staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. In keeping with the board's commitment 2 years ago, as you know, we've had a 2-year, 2.6 millage funding the public safety radios for the city of Hot Springs. And with this, we're glad to bring a resolution levying 0 mills for ad valorem for the general fund, as well as the other 2 that we'll be getting to in a moment. So we felt it important, and I know I've been instructed by several board members that they'd like to honor that commitment. So it pleases the staff tonight to be able to bring a resolution so doing that.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Burrows? We had no member of the public sign up to speak on this issue, so any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Foley,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. This time we'll consider resolution number R18141 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-18-141, a resolution levying 0 mills of ad valorem taxes for the purposes of paying fire officer pensions. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Jones, seconded by
Second.
Director Davidson. And again, Mr. Burrows will provide this, the staff report.
Again, Mayor, this is levying 0 mills of ad valorem taxes for the purpose of paying fire officer pensions. And, you know, as public servants, there's nothing more than important than the public's trust. And again, we are pleased to bring this to you and honor the commitment that this board made 2 years ago. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Again, we had no member of the public sign up for this particular issue, so any discussion amongst directors?
Mr.
Director
Mayor,
Fowler.
when I was going through the board packet on that, I noticed that I believe it was in the board packet or something else I read recently, that the pension for the fire department is about 56% of salaries. That's really misleading because what it is we have a percentage that we apply to the salaries, but the other is paying off the past debt. And I wish we would find a way to publicly notify the public so that they're not thinking that all this money for their salaries is going into that. In fact, we have a huge debt that we're allocating money to every year until we pay the debt off from past performance back in the 80s. So if there's any way we could clarify that for the public, I would appreciate it.
Very good, thank you. Any other comments from directors? Any questions? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Foley,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Our final resolution for action tonight is R18142, and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-18-142, a resolution levying 0 mills of ad valorem taxes for the purpose of paying police officers' pension. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Clark, seconded by
Second.
Director Davidson. Mr. Burrows.
Again, Mayor, for reasons previously mentioned on the prior two resolutions, staff is bringing a resolution levying 0 mills of ad valorem taxes for the purposes of paying off the police officer, or paying off the purpose of paying police officer pensions, not paying them off. I know, it sounded terrible.
What do we got to do?
But
They're going to clean that.
you know, again, with this resolution, Mayor, the ad valorem tax will sunset, and the board has been able to honor that commitment. So we're glad to bring this to you.
Very good. All right, moving right along on that. We have no member of the public sign up to talk on that item. Any discussion amongst board members? Very good. We'll call the roll.
Clark,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Foley,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Our final action item for this evening is to consider an ordinance 01836. In order to move forward, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
A motion
Second.
and a second to suspend the rules. All in favor of the motion to suspend the rules signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Motion is adopted. Council, please read ordinance by title.
Ordinance O-1836, an ordinance waiving the requirements of competitive bidding for the purchase of certain real property located off Amity Road on Little Mazarn Road related to the proposed water treatment plant and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Thank you. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
A motion?
Second.
Seconded. Thank you. And our staff report will be by Mr. Todd Pillar. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. I got to tell a funny. Bill mentioned about Halloween coming up and so forth, and Halloween will be my 1 year I've been with the city. And the first day I showed up on the job, Bill comes down to my office, and I'm in my worker bee costume.
True story.
Bill says, "Oh my gosh, who have we put in engineering?" But anyway, I'm the project manager. I'm a whole lot better at projects than I am at property. But Gary's with his family. They were hit by the Hurricane Florence, so he's with his family tonight. So I'm filling in a little bit for this ordinance. The ordinance is about the property for a water plant. It also needs to include the cost for our closing costs and our survey for the property. It'll be a grand total of about $500,000, and it will be funded out of the 2018 Water Bond Fund. The staff, engineering, and utilities looked at many sites along the Albright and Amity Road corridors, and we got an appraisal for the site. It came within our range of our budget, and it came in at $15,000 an acre, and it'll be approximately 33 acres, which is about $495,000. But the owner of the property, we're still going to have the survey done so we know exactly what we owe. They have a map, or a little hard to see on the monitors, but it's right off of Amity Road, 7 South, Central Avenue, and about 1.5 miles on the right-hand side. The nice thing about the location is it's cleared. We don't have to build any paved roads to it. It's the elevation that possibly during our first phase of our intake being on Lake Washita, and the plant we're being location-wise down on Amity Road, that we can flow by gravity, no electricity costs. The other nice thing about it is there's a pond on site, which, of course, the current plant up on northern Lake Hamilton has backwash ponds for our backwash water when we clean our filters, and there's a pond there already on site that we can expand on that. I have brought, because I'm not real good, like I said, I'm good on projects, not property. I'm going to ask Mr. Bill Burrow, and we also have our engineer, Matt Dunn, with Christ Engineers here. If I can't answer any questions, I will have them help me. With that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Mr. Pillar?
Well, I had a question, but I don't know if it's for him or...
Want to ask it during board discussion time?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Stay close, though. We have two individuals that have signed up to speak on this issue, and first is Mr. Larry Grinder. Mr. Grinder, please come forward and state your name and address, please.
I'm Larry Grinder. I live at 501 Little Mazarn Road. And I got twofold on why I feel like this should not be in our community out there. First of all, they're getting $15,000 an acre off of Amity Road, Little Mazarn. There's a community there that's really close to the lake. I'm within 500 yards of this plant, and I live on Lake Hamilton. The other thing is, I guess Albright Lane over there within a quarter of a mile of that property, 2 pieces of property sold in the last 3 months, one 30 acres for $6,500 an acre, one 15 acres for $5,000 an acre. And you're willing to give $15,000 an acre because you're going into a community where the lake is, property is expensive. I think you need to reconsider this. That's all I've got to say.
Okay, thank you. Next individual that's signed up is Mr. Bob Driggers. Mr. Driggers, please come forward and state your name and address, please.
I'm Bob Driggers. I'm at 3 Stone Gate. And you should have a form that was handed out earlier for each of the board members. This is not a good location. The elevation of This property on Little Mazarn is 477 foot above mean sea level. Now, that wouldn't be a problem if all the surrounding area were in the 400s or 300s, but it's not. I'm glad the last gentleman mentioned that you've got gravity flow. He's talking about the raw water line from Washita down to this property. But you're going to have to pump and be out the expense. If you look at item number 4 on the list I provided you, the elevations, by the way, of the area that's in the true growth corridor, for example, I live in Stonegate, 505 feet. You're going to have to pump uphill to serve my house. Pleasant Hill, in the growth corridor, 538 feet above mean sea level. Where the 70 West Fire Department is, 573. Lake Hamilton School, 577. Airport and Harris Road, 618 foot. If you go out Albert Pike, Crystal Springs, 672 foot. You're going to spend a lot of money on electricity to pump all of that from this low lot up to any of those areas. Now, how about a solution? Simply put your plant, avoid even building a raw water transmission line, save yourself $60–70 million, and put the plant where the intake is. That elevation is 669 feet above mean sea level on the hillside beside the lake where you're putting the intake. Gravity flow is a good thing. You can flow down to the true growth corridor of the area. I don't know for sure how much time I've got, but the other...
1 minute.
1 minute? There's 11 other items on your list there. First of all, of course, it's not in the growth corridor. It doesn't matter if you're building a water treatment plant, a sewer treatment plant, an electric power plant. You need to locate those facilities near where your customers are, where the load is, what you're going to serve. Otherwise, you're exposing a lot of system that you don't need to. And in this case, you're actually pumping uphill to them. So, you already, Mr. Burroughs was incorrect. He said the newest the newest water storage tower was 50 years ago. You built one just a few years ago on Amity Road, and it's now mothballed. There's no customers down there to serve. It's mothballed. It wasn't needed. You also are right up next to the county line in Kempsey Water Supply. So you don't have much area. I would recommend strongly that you reconsider, hold public hearings, and allow the public to input. You might find there are a lot better places, and there are easy ways to save $80 or $90 million, maybe more.
Okay, thank you. We have one final individual to speak, and that's Ms. Pat King. Ms. King, please come up and state your name and address, please.
Pat King, 219 Glade. Y'all were doing good. I was hoping I wouldn't have to come up here again. But gee golly whiz, it's my money you're wasting. It's not city money, it's taxpayers' money. And you can build this thing, like he said, at a high elevation, not have to go so far. You already got a problem with the pipe system leaking, and you're going to put in more pipes to leak? This is about as bad as when they were going to put the treatment plant on the other side of the lake. Can't we keep things nice and tight together? Keep the costs down? Because I tell you, there's a lot of folks out there having trouble paying their water bill. And you don't have to spend money we don't have to spend. And I guess that's it. But please, make something sensible, not just because somebody recommended it to you. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the individuals that have signed up to speak on this issue. I'll just ask, was there anyone else that wanted to speak on this issue? Okay, thank you. Discussion amongst directors. Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I had questions for clarification. And last year, when we received the report, and there were different scenarios of where this plant could be built. And it included Highway 270 West, Highway 70 West, and the Amity Road. So when we accepted that, did we vote on, have we already chose and voted on this location? This is on the acquisition, but was the location already been chosen on Amity Road area? Have we already voted on that? Or is this selecting that location tonight?
This is selecting that location, and Director Garcia, we have Matt Dunn with Christ Engineers here. If there's some technical issues that you'd have some further questions about, I'd refer those to Matt. He's done a tremendous amount of study regarding these plant sites. As Mr. Pillar stated earlier, we believe this particular site has a lot of benefits that come along with that. You know, with the paved road, we don't have to do some clearing, but we can also gravity feed water from the intake all the way to that site, saving an enormous amount of pumping cost, as well as this ties back into our system from this particular location. We're able to reduce pumping costs that we currently have in a pressure plane that feeds the Hollywood tank. So if Matt, if you'd like to come up in case there's some technical questions, but I think that
well,
due diligence has
what
been
I
done.
understood was with these scenarios, and Chris did some estimation of the cost, and it's my understanding that Amity Road area plant and connection point was the least expensive of these three scenarios. Is that correct?
Of the scenarios presented in the scenarios presented in the water supply project?
Yes.
Well, you're going to catch me without remembering those exact costs. It's been what, a year or so since we finalized all those cost estimates. So I couldn't sit here and tell you right now that the cost comparison numbers. I just to be honest. But this was the location on Amity Road. Well, was the recommended location and by both Christ Engineers and the city staff, bringing the water to the area along the Amity Road corridor, and then bringing the finished water in around the lake, tying into the main transmission line along the bypass.
And it talked about that this plant was going to have the connection point and supply southeast, and the Ouachita plant then would do northwest.
Yes, ma'am.
So this plant would not be going uphill, so to speak.
Well, in any scenario, we're pumping to a hydraulic grade line of 700. The tanks that we're building at Cornerstone, along with the Music Mountain tanks, the Highway 70 West tanks, they're all interconnected, and they're all pumped. We're going to pump to any tank, regardless of where we put the water plant. We're pumping to the hydraulic grade line of 700. So that's irrelevant. What this location shows, or what this location provides, is an overall holistic best recommended approach for the city, from a hydraulic standpoint, from a water age standpoint, for sure from a redundancy standpoint. So of all the scenarios that were listed in the water supply project, this is the alternative that provides the most benefit to the city.
And when it said it would fill the new water storage tank, that's referring to the one that we'll be building behind Lowe's?
Yes, ma'am. So what this will provide is a balanced hydraulics in the distribution system. So we're going to continue to use the Ouachita water treatment plant the way it is today. It pumps from the northwest toward town. Primarily pumping to the Music Mountain tanks, if you know where those are located, at kind of at the end of the bypass over there. And then with the new Cornerstone tank that's under construction now, this new water treatment plant they have the same hydraulic overflow elevation. But by having the water treatment plant, this new water plant down on the south end of town, it balances the hydraulics, so to speak. So we're not bringing all the energy from one part of town with large pipelines, higher pressures, and more potential benefit to the distribution system at that point.
And this provides the redundancy that we need in our system.
Yes, ma'am.
The
absolutely.
Entergy has told us we cannot take more water out of Lake Hamilton. We have to have the redundancy in our system and have that emergency ability to handle if there's a problem at one or the other.
Yes, ma'am. Entergy has told the city that we cannot increase the water withdrawal at the current Ouachita treatment plant until we develop a redundant water supply or an additional water supply. And so Bill and the city over the last decade has been working to develop the Lake Ouachita water supply, and this is in which we have that Lake Ouachita allocation in hand now, and then this is the process to take that raw water and implement it into the water supply for the city and provide that redundancy that you're talking about.
So when I went back and looked at our booklet from last year, all the numbers in it shows that this is the most economical. It showed the lowest cost. And that's still true comparing,
Yes, ma'am.
even though it was a year ago, the three scenarios. And y'all looked at everything to determine what scenarios would be best.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I appreciate.
I may interject.
Yes, sir.
A couple of things that people don't realize is the big picture, is that right now, a lot of, basically from Oak Lawn towards the west, out towards the bypass, we pump it twice. We pump it from the water plant to Music Mountain, which is what Matt said, elevation 700. And then we pump it to the Twins, which is up on the top of Cooper Street, which is 800. And we flow downtown where you got water right here is 800 elevation. When we flow it back to Oak Lawn, we pump it twice. With this scenario, we don't pump it to get it to the plant. All we have to do is get it to 700. We're talking 50 PSI. Our pumps it'd be nothing compared to what we're pumping 600 horsepower pumps up to the Ouachita plant right now. Plus, with the location and the gravity line going from Ouachita down to this plant, we can drop water for free at the Ouachita plant. We don't have to pump it out of the upper Lake Hamilton. We can drop
Director
it off.
Foley. What we're hearing is one aspect to the whole distribution system,
That's correct.
and there is no aspect that we can't criticize, that we tried to address. None. It's just because there's always alternatives, so some believe some are going to be better. But for the public's benefit, I wonder if the two of you would take some time and discuss or identify what were the goals in establishing this distribution system. We're talking about a new water treatment plant. We're talking about a new storage tank, and I don't think people really understand, number one, what are the goals? There are several goals in this whole project, including the equalization of pressures across the whole system, the reduction of the trihalomethane problems. I wonder if you'd take just a couple minutes and inform the public. I hate to catch you off guard like this. You're unprepared, but
No, that's what I live for.
okay. Well,
You're talking my language now.
if the board doesn't have any objection, I would ask that they spend some time informing the public of what this project really is. Okay.
Yeah. The big picture is that we have a THM problem, trihalomethanes, carcinogenic, on the south and east side of town. And the water plants are on the northwest side of town. So what we deal with is water age. As part of the reasons why we're going through the Hollywood tank renovations is to change the mixing system inside that tank because of the water age that we have to deal with coming from Lake Ouachita in the plant up there. The THMs form with water age. If we can do raw water down to Amity Road, no chlorine, raw water, then the chlorine only injected at that point. And it's a short distance from Amity Road to Lowe's. It's a short distance from Amity Road, Mount Carmel Road, Carpenter Dam Road, over to the bypass to get down the southeast side going towards our industrial tank out there near is it Belden Cable? I think it's Belden Cable out that way. But the water age will be a whole lot less. Chlorine residual will be higher. We'll feed less chlorine. Monty Ledbetter in our utility department has got plans to do mixing systems in all of our tanks to help with the water quality issue. And the fact that we don't have all our eggs in one basket, that we can draw from Lake Hamilton, upper Lake Hamilton, we can draw from Ouachita, and we have storage that'll allow us not to pump it twice, but into one pressure plane, makes it a whole lot more economical to treat water for the community. And the site was picked on also because of the southern location, meaning that that's where our problems are. Look at RDOT. They're widening. We're going through chaos right now on Highway 7 South. I pull my hair out every day with the water lines and things like that changing constantly, making sure, and in fact, the board approved, I put an 8-inch water line, I made it a 12-inch water line to make it so we get water from this plant site that we're talking about to the new treatment plant there behind, or tank site behind Lowe's. So I don't know what else you need to know, but there's many people on staff that we think about this stuff every day, and we try.
Can you address the comment regarding the growth corridor? I thought I read something from the State Highway Department that the growth corridor for Hot Springs is south and southeast. I know there's been a lot of development on 270 and 270 West, but I mean, we're expanding the highway going south just for that reason.
So by locating the water plant on the south part of town, the growth corridor can be wherever it needs to be, quite frankly. We're covered from both perspectives at this point. We've got the water coming from the Ouachita plant from the northwest. We'll have the new water plant located on the south. And so if the growth corridor is out west, 70 west, then that's right between the two water plants. So in other words, we have water supplying that corridor from the north and from the south. If all of your eggs are in one basket or all of your water treatment is located in one location, then it's a one-way flow to this growth corridor. So wherever the growth corridor is, we'll be in a position to handle that either way. If the growth corridor is more to the east, then we're dealing with that with the water line that's going around Lake Hamilton and connecting to the main transmission line on the bypass. I mean, this is a whole dynamic model that all goes together. Over the last how many years, Bill? We've been working on this 5 years or so. So we've got a hydraulic model of the whole water system, which is a very large, complex water system, and all of this has been taken into account in our studies. One of the things that Todd talked about is this double pumping phenomenon, and so that's been going on for longer than I've been working here, and so that goes back to balancing the hydraulics of the system. We're pumping water up and letting it flow back down on the east side of town, and so that's part of this approach to be able to deliver water to the east side of town from this new location. That's one of the reasons, or one of the points of emphasis of our study. You might remember we presented the Water System Master Plan 3-4 months ago or so that had a lot of the, it was specific to the water distribution system. And a lot of this is addressed in that master plan. And so it's all, there's not a simple answer to that. It's all intertwined together as to why the location was chosen out there. And also water age is also is also a big deal. And, this just knocks that right in the head because we're balancing the hydraulics and water age will be no more. I mean, we'll have that fixed from now on.
Thank you.
I'd also like to address one of the other comments made relative to the price of the real estate. If there's land around there that's all together, which this is, at $6,500, let's just say $6,000 an acre, and we're paying $15,000. That $9,000 difference on 33 acres is $297,000. Is there anywhere around there that's got a public road access where we won't have to build a road?
Well, Gary's not here, and Gary, Gary and I looked at a lot of sites out there, and there's first of all, there's not many willing sellers. So you run into that right off the bat. We talked to Gary Mosley, did that legwork. He's talked to the landowners out there, and we have a willing seller here. But I don't know if I need to be the one to answer the question. Bill, you might want to take that question.
Well, I can just say that in a lot of the property owners that we spoke with, Director Foley, they have active farms that are currently active, and they did not want to give up their particular business for that protocol. Now, we, as the paper stated this morning, why did we not take that through an eminent domain process? Well, through eminent domain, we could get the property, but then a jury is going to decide what that property is worth. And if you have a bona fide assessed value of that property, as well as comparables that were in that report, as well as property that this seller has already sold, I'm assuming that any jury or judge would take that in consideration when they decide what the value of that property is. In this particular instance, he actually contacted us. We had a willing seller, and so we went that avenue. A lot of the other properties did not have a road. Some weren't cleared. Some we would have to build a road to. They kind of jumped over one aspect that I think is very important in looking at the actual raw water line that comes down to this proposed plant site. And you touched on it, Todd, but you went by it pretty quick. And that's the fact that we have the ability through this raw water line to tee a line over to our current Washita water plant. So should there be an issue with Lake Hamilton in the future, whatever that may be, a Tainer gate, an oil line, whatever it may be, we can shut that water off, that intake off at that Washita treatment plant and pull water to both plants out of Lake Washita. So it does give us even a double layer of redundancy that we currently don't have today. And I think there's a lot of value in that as well.
Or we may choose just to turn the pumps off to save money. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing we're looking at right now. If we're able to achieve the gravity flow, which we're still preliminarily, we're still working on that.
Yeah. Thank you. I have no other questions.
Thank you, Director Foley. Any other questions? Director Garcia.
Just regarding Mr. Grinder's comments for the proximity, I don't think there's any zoning in that area, is there? And would you explain that, or someone explain, this plant is going to be different on what you said, how it's going to be built?
Thank you, Director Garcia. I think that's a good point as well. I actually received communications from another property owner that owns 50 acres across the street from our plant, maybe one lot over and across the street, and he was concerned with what this plant may do. But we were able to alleviate his concerns. The days of open basins and large concrete basins sitting out in the open are over. This particular water plant is going to be indoors. It's all the activities that you see are going to be confined in an indoor area. So the facade on the facility, it can look like a house, it can look like a log cabin, it can look like a barn, it could look like a number of things. Because all of the activity is in the inside. And we're not talking about a plant that's going to have 8, 9 employees. You know, we have 1 or 2 employees that will be working at this particular site. We manage things, as you know, through our SCADA system, and we can do that at any one of the plants or the wastewater plant. All of these are controlled. They're through our HMI system and our SCADA system, and we have the ability to do that and not be at the plant. But through the Department of Health, we will have to have a 24-hour manned site. So there's not really a lot of activity that takes place at the plant once construction is over. So I hope that answers that question.
Thank you. Any further questions? If not, Todd, Matthew, thank you.
Thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, please call the roll.
Garcia,
I went back and studied all this, and I believe that this is the most economic way to go. Aye.
very good. Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. This time we have Board of Directors' comments. Any comments on matters of interest to you? Director Clark.
I just wanted to point out, it was in our consent agenda, but that November 12th is going to be Free Ride Day for intercity transit. So I want to make sure that's out to the public and on TV. So if you all wanted to try out the bus system, there's your day, November 12th, which also, by the way, is my birthday. So, you know.
That's what you was getting at.
Well, that's your birthday
Might well
present.
start making your
Everybody-
list, make your plans. There we go.
You get free bus pass for your birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's also Veterans Day.
Veterans.
It's 11th.
Very good. Any other comments? Before Director Jones makes her comment, we had
I'm ready.
we had 2 really significant events this past weekend. One at Oaklawn Park, the Lake Hamilton High School cross-country invitational. I'm not sure how many teams were there, but there were a lot of people at the track. I went out there for the first time and to watch a cross-country meet, and I talked to some people from Bentonville who apparently are very seasoned. They must have a son or daughter competing, and they really like the venue because they can see so much of the track right there in the course, and you can move about a little bit and see actually some more. And it was very interesting. The weather was a little cold, and the girls' varsity race got rained on, but that kind of kept them a little cooler. But it was still kind of chilly nonetheless. And Bentonville ruled the day, both for the boys and the girls, but everybody had a great time. And then we had guests the last meeting from the high school mountain biking team for Hot Springs, but there were about 20 or 25 teams at Cedar Glades on Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, and they rode following all that rain that we had. And when they finished their individual races, there were multiple heats, and as you can imagine, and they made multiple laps of the course, and with each pass, the course got muddier and muddier, and the better riders, the varsity riders, were the last to go. And when they came in, they were just, their bikes and themselves were just really full of it. And it was always kind of neat to see the mother embrace the daughter in a hug, and then she comes away with as much mud as the daughter had on her. But they had about 250 high school mountain bikers out at Cedar Glades, and that was a really, really fun event. So we had 2 major high school activities here, and a lot of different people in town for different things. So we look forward to those type of activities continuing. So, Director Jones, if nobody else has anything, it's your turn.
I move that we adjourn for the night, Mayor, from this meeting.
Very good. We got a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Yes, sir.
Have a